back to Twitter, because we can save that for another episode. So before,
But it's more complex than that.
yes,
I know
yes,
that.
yes. So we had a situation where Twitter is allowed to kick people. They're a private company, so that's why I didn't understand why, like, when they said it's fully private. Like, they're the private company, they can make their own rules. There's like an agreement that you sign, which nobody ever reads in everything technology. Like, if I want to use my iPhone, I have to like sign an agreement of what's it called?
Yep.
And
Terms
so
and terms and
and
conditions.
conditions. Thank you. So we do that, we sign that, and then we have to decide. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff, and then
Yeah.
they are regulating it according
Yeah.
to whatever the criteria is. And people will say, hey, this is being not applied across the board evenly. And then comes judgment because, hey, like, you see your bias skewed this decision more here, and this person did something similar, and they weren't punished for it. Like, I got. Did you know I was suspended from Twitter?
You
Because
were?
I was suspended from Twitter because I created an account, and then I think my account got hacked, and I don't use Twitter. I don't care
Yeah.
for Twitter. And then when I opened my Twitter, it's like a bunch of hey, sunglasses 50% off,
Oh my
and
god, they
and
were
then
using your
and
account
I was
to
trying to
sell
log
stuff.
in, yeah, yeah, and then like gave me like a permanent ban. You've been suspended indefinitely. And then I hit like report. Like, I think my account got hacked. I'd like to use it again. Like in 5 minutes, it got reinstated.
Okay.
And this was like 2 weeks ago that I got reinstated. But I haven't used it for a year. I hadn't logged in because I've been hacked a few times in under different in different platforms. Um,
They're afraid of hate speech in Twitter. That's
right.
basically it.
And why? Why are people afraid of hate speech?
Because they don't know how to define hate speech.
But also, hate
And
speech is hate
also
speech a good
and
thing?
also people, they are really, really in touch with their emotions nowadays.
Right. But I don't think that people are in touch with their emotions. I think more than they were in other times. I feel like people are more concerned because if your understanding of mental health develops and you start understanding where, you know, stuff gets built up, where stress is coming from, all these aspects of society that are very abrasive
Mm.
to you as a person, you might start feeling, okay, let's try to mitigate these things. Or you can take the opposite approach. Let's be a man, and like, let's take all this and just like deal with it, learn how to deal with it. Those are two different approaches, right? You can try to
Yeah.
eliminate hate speech, or you can leave it around and see what happens. And
Yeah.
like, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen type of thing. But my view of the world, there's a lot of suffering in this world, and a lot of suffering that's brought on
It's always
to,
been.
right?
Yeah.
uh, a lot of suffering is brought on to other people by way of bullying, for example, by the
Yeah.
way of discrimination, by the way of racism, by the way of this and that and the other.
Yeah.
So what should you do with that? Those aggressions that are verbal, they're non-physical. You should say, like, words can hurt you, because words can
Racism is it's crime.
good.
You- It's already in there. It's already in the legislation, You can
Right.
be racist towards someone. The problem is that the banalization of
I don't think that's the word, but you mean like the
the
mainstream, let's call it mainstreamification.
banalização.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you
It's like
meant.
you diminish the meaning of the word.
Oh,
It's like
the watering down.
exactly the watering down of the meaning and the words. Because uh, everybody, like, if you are against the narrative, if you're against certain ideologies, they call you a racist. They call you a Nazi. They call you a fascist. That's basically how they that's basically how they fight the cultural war,
Mm. So
by demonizing the other side and saying, "Oh, so you didn't even say anything racist, but if you're saying something goes against their narrative, you're racist."
right.
And that's, to me, it's a watering down of the meaning of the word. You
Well,
know,
that can be used as a weapon, but it can also be used from ignorance. Like, people don't really understand what they're
I-
saying, and people just use these words because they sound important, and that happens a lot.
yeah, yeah, it could be, but that that's why I just don't understand uh the hype. Like why are people worried about Elon Musk taking over Twitter?
Well,
What do you think he's gonna do? Like, he's gonna allow every sort of speech, including hate speech? What is hate speech? Who defines it? That's my question.
but that's a question outside of Twitter because what one of the
That's what
things
I'm
that
saying. Now they're gonna try to legislate the internet and social media because before they were doing that internally,
mhm.
right? Because the the companies were aligned with the let's say the narrative. They were aligned with the government per se. Let's say
Which
like,
government? They were anti-government like one administration ago, and now they're aligned with the government.
well, we had a change of
So exactly. So
administration.
they weren't necessarily aligned
They
forever.
were against, yeah. Well, they banned Trump from Twitter.
Exactly.
So
So how can that's not being aligned with the government? I think
with the government right now, with
the current government,
the current government,
it's
that's what I'm saying.
right. So
So
they are aligned with one and against another.
it's the same narrative. I mean, you see the media, government, social media platforms, and because Elon doesn't really represent that ideology, doesn't really represent those ideas, he's more on, as it seems like, a little more on the other side because, and that's just because he's advocating for free speech, and that's enough for
Mhm.
him to be labeled like,
Yeah, but
on the other side.
that's not okay.
Now they're feeling threatened. That's how I see it, because it's like free speech means free speech, period.
Under the
And
law
people go
of the
crazy
country, that's one of the things that he says. Like he feels like the platform should represent the communication, the speech laws
yeah.
from whatever country they're representing. But what then? What's gonna happen?
Oh yeah, I was saying because before the companies did that internally. They came up with like, oh, you can turn on your notification, not notifications, but on your settings, you can like turn off sensitive content, harmful content,
Mm.
whatever. Like, so it will limit the types of content that you're getting or whatever. Like they would censor certain things, ban certain things.
They're a private company.
Yeah,
They're a
they can
private
do
company,
that,
so
but
it's not.
it's still like it's a type of censorship. What they were doing is a type of censorship, and I could see that that one side was being targeted more than the other. You know,
Hmm.
that was a double standard. I could see that because I follow the side that was being censored.